All right, expressions and equations. Number 1, the answer is 3x plus 39. What's the first thing I had to do on this problem? You had to distribute. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 6 is 30. And then we have minus 2x plus 9. So we say 5x minus 2x is 3x. And then 30 plus 9 is 39. This is simplest form. This is your answer. You cannot get any smaller than that. Questions on number 1. All right, number 2. Negative 2m minus 8 plus 4 times 3m minus 9. So we need to distribute. 4 times 3m is 12m. 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. Combine like terms, a negative 2m and 12 positive m's. When I cross off the 0 pair, I'm left with 10 positive m's. Negative 8 minus 36 is negative 44. Would you agree? Yes? Questions on that one? The answer key had a different answer, but I don't see how they got the different answer. They got a positive 28. I don't see any way in the world that could be a positive 28. I looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. But a positive here times a negative here is a negative. And 4 times 9 is 36. If I have 36 negatives and I add 8 more negatives to it, that should be negative 44. Anybody see it any differently? Okay. All right. Write an expression that represents the perimeter of the rectangle below. So the perimeter means I'm adding the sides. So y plus another y plus another y plus another y is 4 y's. And then 2 plus 2 is 4. 4y plus 4. Write an expression that represents the area of the rectangle. Well, area is length times width. So you're multiplying the y times the y plus 2. You could go ahead and distribute that out, and you could have y times y. One y times 1y is still 1y. And y times 2 is plus 2y. And then we will have 3y if you factored it out. I would take any of those answers. All right, questions about 4. 5. Are the two expressions below equivalent, and explain why or why not? So I went ahead and I factored here and I said 4 times x is 4x and 4 times 2 is 8. So 4x plus 8 does not equal 4x plus 2 because the first expression you have to distribute the 4 to the 2. What made it different was I had to say 4 times 2 and get 8. So not equal, not equivalent, or no should be your answer. 6. Are the two expressions below equivalent? Explain why or why not. Yes. Here on this side I combined like terms. 5 minus 8x is negative 3x. 10 minus 2 is 8. Those are the same thing, so I said yes. 7. A square has a perimeter of 8y. What is the length of each side? That means a square has to have equal sides. And so if I divide 8y by 4, each side gets 2y. So each side is 2y. Eight. The length of the rectangle is 3 times as long as the width. Using a variable for the unknown width, label the rectangle below with the side measurement. So you should have a variable, a single variable for the width. And then the length is 3 times whatever that is. So if this is x, this would be 3x and 3x. If this is n, it's 3n, 3n, and 3n. I just use w for width. Questions on any of those? No? Well, that's pretty easy. If you remember to distribute, most of that page should have been pretty easy. No questions. All right, let's look at the geometry on the back. So, what is the formula for finding the area of a circle? You should have area equals pi r squared. I saw on somebody's paper they had... How is that the formula for area of a circle? Where'd the 2 come from? We only know that if the radius is 2. This is what a formula looks like. Area equals pi r squared. This is the only answer that's correct. You all right? Okay. What is the formula for finding the circumference of a circle? Either of those 2 work. You don't have to have both, but circumference equals pi times the diameter, or circumference equals 2 pi r. 2 times the radius, which is the diameter, times pi. 3. Rachel is putting up a fence around her pool. The pool has a diameter of 12 feet. So let's think about this. I had to draw a picture. The diameter of the pool all the way through the middle is 12 feet. There's a sidewalk around the pool that extends 3 feet out from the side of the pool. So we're going to have a sidewalk that goes all the way, would help if you could see the picture. We're going to have a sidewalk that goes all the way around the pool, and it's going to be 3 feet out. So here I've got to add 3 feet, and here I have to add 3 feet. So what's the total diameter here? 12 plus 3 is 15 plus 3 is 18. So the diameter of this entire thing equals 18. That's the first step. Then it says, how many feet of fencing will she need to go around the sidewalk? So if we're going around the sidewalk, are we finding area or circumference? Circumference. What's going on at this table? All right, so circumference equals pi times the diameter. So 3.14 times 18. And what do we get? He will need 56 and 52 hundredths feet. So 56 and 5200 feet. Is circumference feet squared? No, because it's just one direction all the way around. We're measuring in one direction all the way around. Questions about that one? Do you see how it went from 12 feet to 18 feet? Yes? Okay. Rachel also needs to cover a pool. No, she also needs a pool cover. Find the area of the pool to determine what size cover she will need. So area is pi r squared. We're just going to cover the pool and not the sidewalk. So if the diameter is 12, what's the radius? If the diameter is 12, what's the radius? 6. 3.14 times 6 squared is 113 and 400 feet squared to cover the pool. Five, Marcus has circular stepping stones that have a radius of 18 inches. So I drew a circle. The radius is 18 inches. What is the area of one stone? Area equals pi r squared. So 3.14 times 18 squared. And you should have gotten 1,017 and 36 inches squared, the area of one stone. So far, so good? No questions? Okay. 6, Marcus has 12 stepping stones that he will lay next to each other to make a walkway to his front door. How long in feet will the walkway be? So, I need to figure out, if I lay them end to end, 18 of them, how long that's going to be. So, if the radius is 18, then the diameter of each one is 36 inches. So, I had to know how many feet 36 inches is. And 36 inches is 3 feet. 1 foot is 12 inches. You all should already know that. 1 foot is 12 inches. So 36 inches is 3 feet. So each one is 3 feet long. So if I take 3 feet and multiply it by 12, then the walkway is going to be 36 feet long. Questions? Okay. Janae has a circular mirror with a circular frame. She wants to paint the frame. The diameter of the mirror and the frame together is 20 inches. All the way across is 20 inches. The mirror itself has a radius of 6 inches. What is the area of the frame? So first I found the area of this entire big part. So 3.14 times 10 squared. 10 squared is 100. 100 times that is 314. And then the mirror has a radius of 6 inches. So the mirror takes up 113 and 4/10. And then I need to subtract to find the difference. So you should have 296 hundredths inches squared. If you did this section in IXL, you had lots of problems like these. A sprinkler sprays in a circular motion. It sprays out 7.5 feet in one direction. What is the area that is covered by the sprinkler? We had a problem like this on a warm-up, right? Do you remember that? So if we have a circle and there's a sprinkler in the middle and it sprays out in one direction, 7.5 feet. So that 7.5 feet is the radius. So 3.14 times the radius squared, and you get 176 and 625 thousandths feet squared. Questions? Everybody good? Okay. All right, let's look at the milestones packet. Let's look at Unit 1 and tell me if you have any questions left from Unit 1. We'll go unit by unit on these. I think we already talked about this one, didn't we? No questions left on Unit 1? All right, Unit 2. Any questions? We already talked about Unit 2 a few days ago, correct? Any remaining questions on Unit 2? No? All right. Unit 3. Any questions on Unit 3? Give you a minute to look at them. I think that 4 was a difficult problem. Anybody have any questions about 4? So our y, remember this is our x and this is our y. Our y is going to equal whatever we multiply the x by. So we're going to get smaller, so it has to be a fraction. These are both positive, so I can't have a negative. No questions? All right. 6 was pretty difficult, but you had to think this is only 1/2 of an ounce. And so a whole ounce should be more than that. No questions. Okay, let's look at 4. Lots of folks had trouble with this. It says determine which sampling method will represent the entire population and justify your... These are the two sampling methods right here. This was one choice, this was another. Some people said these over here. Those are results of surveys. This right here, which sampling method? TED interviews 95 dancers who were randomly selected from the studio member list. Remember, random selection, either systematic or just plain random, is the only way to get an unbiased survey with valid results. If you interviewed the last 23 dancers to enroll, maybe they haven't even had a class yet. They just signed up. That's probably not who you want to talk to. So you should have something in your answer about randomly selected. Any others we need to talk about? No? Everybody's good? Okay. All right, 5, geometry. Number 1 is a right angle. 2, the measure of EFC is 120 degrees. The measure of 4 is 100 degrees. This one and this one are the same. Right? If I picked this up and put it over the top, these are exactly the same angles as these. So if this is 80, this is 80. And if this is 80, that makes that 100 because those have to add up to 180. All right. If you chose right here, what type of angle relationship do 5 and 8 share? Some people chose skew. Was that an angle relationship we even talked about? If you're going to make your best educated guess on the test, what are the two relationships we've talked about? Vertical and complementary. Those are the only two that we've talked about. What? Skew. Yeah, we talked about it in 6th grade when we were talking about graphs and if the data was all skewed to one side or the other, right? Remember if it was all on one side of the graph and the other side was really small, we said it was skewed. But that's the only time we've talked about it. All right. 5, your answer is D. 6, your answer is B. Everybody struggled with that one. But that was just a, what kind of question was that? You had to find the, what's the word for what you did? Perimeter. You had to find the perimeter. C, here, 90, 45 degrees, and 45 degrees. D, your answer here, 13 and 4,200 feet squared. Any questions on any of those? No? All right. 6, probability. Number 1, there's not really a good answer choice there for number 1 in my opinion. I chose C. Javier places 5 cards that are labeled 1 through 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Face down on a table, mixes them up. What is the likelihood that his archenemy, Luke, will draw an odd numbered card? So it's 3 out of 5. So that's certainly not impossible. It's not unlikely. It's not certain. So, but it's really not 50-50. If it was 3 out of 6, that would be as likely as not. That's 50-50. But the closest thing to it is as likely as not. Right? This is more of like a 60% chance. 3 divided by 5 is 0.6, which is 60%. So the closest 1 to 60% is as likely as not. 2, 40%. 3, the car wash did not have a special on sandwiches. I would assume they had a special on car wash packages. So there are 9 different specials that you can choose from. 3, here a car, truck, or SUV, that's 3 choices. And wax, vacuum, interior, 3 times 3 equals 9. What is that called when we do that? The fundamental counting principle is multiplying your number of choices by your number of choices. Number 4 is 6. Number 5, 20%. Any questions on any of those? if you flip a coin 6 times, about how many times would you expect the flip to flip a heads or a tails? Well, that's the only things you could get, so that's 6. Number 7 is C, 1/6. Number 8 is C. Number 9 is C. And did I not do number 10? I know. What was I thinking? Any questions on anything before we get to number 10? Number 6 is C. If you flip it 6 times, you're either going to land on heads or tails 6 times. All right. So, part A, determine the sample space using the fundamental counting principle. So, our choices are beef, pork, chicken, or tofu. So, that's 4 times hot, tangy, or sweet times 3. So, there are 12 options. Part A, fundamental counting principle. All right. B, what's the probability of choosing hot sauce with chicken? So now I need to do a tree diagram. Beef, pork, chicken, or tofu. Hot, tangy, sweet. Hot. All right, there's my 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So what's the probability of chicken and hot sauce is right here. So 1/12. Part B is 1/12. Questions? Okay, C, what's the probability of choosing a sweet or tangy with beef? So beef, 1, 2, 2/12, which simplifies to 1/6. And D, create a tree diagram and a list to show all possible outcomes. Well, there's my tree diagram. So the sample space seems to be where you guys are struggling a little bit. So this is A, B, H, B, T, B, S, P, H, P, T, P, S, C, H, C, T, S, T, H, T, T, and T, S. So you should have a sample space that looks like that. Questions? Nope. Questions on anything else? Nope. Okay. All right, so we've got about 10 minutes left in class. You can work on IXL, or you can work on finishing the task cards. We will have math class on Tuesday. Well, I'm trying to finish, but you people are up walking around. This one's coming to ask me a question, and I'm still in the middle of talking to the class. So, you will not have homework next week. I will not assign any more IXL next week. We will have one more day of review Tuesday afternoon after testing, but we'll probably just play some review games, nothing too stressful. If we don't know it by now, we're not going to know it. But we can review to help us remember some details that we may have forgotten. All right, you can finish what you need to work on.